This is Get Sellers Calling You, and I'm Beatty Carmichael. Learn more at our website at getsellerscallingyou.com.
Hi, this is Caroline Springer. Welcome to the next session of Get Sellers Calling You with Beatty Carmichael. Beatty is the CEO of Master Grabber, the creator of Agent Dominator, and he's one of the top marketing experts in the real estate field. Today we're going to be talking about the topic of marketing lessons learned to increase listings. And just a reminder for those of you that are on our live call with us, we will have the lines muted, but we'll open up for questions and answers at the end of the call. Well, welcome, Beatty. I'm excited to get this new little series started and very curious to hear about all of the marketing lessons you've learned over the years.
Well, I'm excited for this call, too, because, it's amazing. If you look at what agents do in the field, some agents work all the time and make only a living wage, and others work fewer hours and have a tremendous lifestyle. Have you ever noticed that?
Yes, I have. It does seem like there's usually, a pretty large disparity, so I'm sure that a lot of our listeners would love to hear, any tips or advice that you have, so they can be in that top percent.
Yeah. Well, it's not just the top percent. It's, lifestyle is not about making more money. Lifestyle is about having time to enjoy the money you make. Let me, real quick, and we're kind of digressing, but moving back toward why this topic we're going to be talking about is so exciting. I was talking to a client of ours, and he made $1 million GCI, gross commission income, okay, in that year. And a friend of his made like $3 or $4 million GCI in that same year. Now, my client, is a single producer. It's just him by himself. And his friend was a team leader, and he had a whole organization and this monster of a machine to drive in business. And what was interesting is my client was telling me, he said, Beatty, when it was all said and done, I took home more money than he did, and I worked a lot fewer hours with a lot fewer headaches. And so it's not so much being a top producer, okay? It's a matter of how much money do you bring in and how much time do you have to enjoy your life and actually have a life outside of real estate. Are you following kind of what I'm trying to articulate?
Yes, I am. I mean, that makes a lot of sense, even just hearing that, thinking about managing, other people in a big team and, just the difference there. I'm sure most of us listening would prefer to have, lower stress, but still, bringing home a good paycheck to where you're able to maintain the lifestyle that you want. So
yeah, so now
I'm following. I think that makes a lot of sense.
Good. So now let's tie that back into the topic, because the topic, marketing lessons we've learned about increasing listings, okay? The topic sounds maybe a little boring and I'm not sure the word I want to use, but not exciting. But the impact of this is cool. The only reason my client was able to take home more money than his friend, earning a lot less in total commission income, and have more time to enjoy it, is because he's gone through a lot of testing over the years to find out what really works. And if you understand what really works, then you can put forth the same amount of effort and get back a lot higher return. And what that means is it takes less time to earn the same amount of money. So that's really the value proposition for this whole series, is how can you earn more money with less effort by doing things right as opposed to doing things wrong. And those are the marketing lessons we've learned on how to increase listings. So that's kind of why, for me, this is an exciting topic to really kind of talk about.
Well, and you're the perfect person for everybody to hear from, because I know you've had a lot of lessons in marketing over the years, and so that's, like you said, part of managing your time well is just being willing to receive the expertise from others like you. So I'm excited to get started. Would you like to, are we going to do an overview of kind of, what we'd like to cover in the series, or would you like to kind of get right down to specifics?
Well, let's do a quick overview. I think that's a great idea. So people can get a bird's eye view of where all this goes, okay? So I think the big picture of the overview is when you do marketing, and this is whether you're on radio, on postcards, face-to-face, if you're in print, if you're on Facebook ads or anything like that, the dynamics are all the same, okay? The tactic may be a little bit different, but the strategy is still the same, and what causes people to respond or not, or what causes people to be more likely to respond or more fully engage with your marketing piece is all the same, okay? And so where this is going to go is we've conducted a bunch of tests. I think it's like 43 different marketing tests over the years, each one trying to understand what causes an incremental increase in results. And let me ask, just in a big scheme of things, this is kind of a hypothetical question. Well, not really hypothetical, but just kind of get this discussion started for a moment. Would you think a 5% increase is a lot or little, generally speaking?
Generally speaking, a little, but I guess it does depend on what the 5% increase is of.
Right, okay, but now watch this. Let's say you have 20 different steps in some sort of marketing process, and you were able to increase 5% each step of the way. So you got a 5% increase, then another 5, then another 5, then another 5. By the time you finish that entire 20-step process, was it just a little bit of an increase, or did you now make a huge increase in the overall result of what just happened?
Right, I would think it would be a huge increase in the overall result, just that step-by-step, and especially when you backed up and looked at all of your efforts. I'm sure it would feel very large.
Yes. So this is the art, this is the impact of compounding increased conversion. The more steps that you can make an incremental increase in conversion rate means that the ultimate outcome of where it all goes is going to be a much larger and very impactful. So what we're constantly been doing is how do we make these incremental step increases? How do we increase something here, and how do we increase in something there? How do we, and we test it back and forth. And when you connect them all together into an entire marketing program, then you've got a really strong overall increase in results. So that's kind of the big picture overview. I think throughout this call we're going to talk about a lot of things we've done. Most of our testing has been in the postcard world, which is just print media. And print media can be either digital print like an ad, or physical print like a postcard, or a print such as maybe on a billboard. So all these things are going to be pretty much applicable and transferable anywhere you go. So that's kind of the big picture overview that I like to take us on this journey. It should be a lot of fun, and should be really surprising on some of the things that we've uncovered and discovered through this process.
Well, I'm sure there definitely will be some things that are surprising too, and things that hopefully our listeners will take away and, kind of take a step back and look at maybe some things that they've tried and different ways that they could try it after listening. I was just thinking, is there kind of, maybe a step one of a suggestion that you have of how to, begin looking at, am I really making these small progression increase steps, or, anything specific that you would suggest of a way to track, or, kind of where do we get started?
Well, I think the first step to get started, great question. The first step is if you don't track it and measure it, it's not marketing, it's just spending. And I was on a podcast call yesterday, and the guy made this, a brilliant comment on it. And it's, most agents just spend money, and then they look back and say, well, did I get a listing? Did something happen? And they really don't know, because they don't take the time to track and measure. And unless you take the time to put in place your tracking and measuring process, then you're just spending money, not sure what works or not. So I think the first step is, obviously, you just have to have this attitude, okay, I'm going to track everything, and if I can't track it, I'm not going to do it. If you're going to run an ad, here's a perfect example, okay? Let's say that you have a website lead capture page, okay? And And you're already doing things out there, and that's driving leads into that. And now you get this idea, hey, I'm going to advertise on this new website. So if you go advertise on that new website and you have no way of knowing if it generates leads or not, then you're just wasting money. Okay? If you have no way of discerning the leads that that website generated over all the other leads, then you really have no way of measuring if that advertising or marketing expense was effective. So that's why you've got to make sure that you're able to track everything you do. And this is where, generally speaking, in marketing you have what's called a split test. Okay? And just kind of lay down, you got a control test and a split test. A control test is where you have two groups that you're testing. One is your control group. It's a known entity in terms of results. And then you test something different. Let me see if this makes sense. So let's say you have a farm that you're targeting, okay, a geographic farm, and you've been mailing that farm for several years, and you're getting consistent results. Okay, and in simple terms, let's say it's a 1,000-home farm. So if you wanted to test something new, what you would do is you would do a control test. You would divide that farm into 500 homes and another 500 just by randomly. Okay, the way I like to randomize things, it's real easy. Just sort, put it in an Excel spreadsheet and sort it by first name, and you're going to get a really random thing. And so you'll take the first 500, and that becomes your control group. And the second 500, that becomes your test group. So in that test group, you would do whatever it is that you think you're going to do differently. And then over a period of time, if it's a farm, maybe over a year, you're then going to look at the control group and the test group and say, was there a noticeable difference, good or bad, in the test group compared to the control group? And if there is, then you can attribute the change to whatever you did. Okay, does that make sense? Are you following the process I'm talking about?
No, it does. I think that's a great, just even small step example of something very easy, kind of anybody could do, of a way to, really make sure that their marketing efforts are working. So, yes, I'm following. I think that's a great idea.
So that's the control test. And then you have a split test. Okay, they're kind of similar, and these are my terms, so it may not be the official terms. But the split test is where you do, or a split A-B test is technically the term, is where you're going to test two different things to the same list. Okay? So the way that you would do a split A-B test is, let's say I'm going to target a new farm, just to keep it simple. I've never marketed there. It's going to be a 1,000-home farm, and I'm going to test a new type of direct response postcard. So in that environment, what I'll do is I'm going to take 500 addresses at random, and I'm going to send them postcard A. I'm going to take the other 500, send them postcard B, and I've got my tracking process in place so I know which postcard someone is responding to. Maybe I send someone to website A.com and the other one they go to website B.com, and so I'm able to separate out the responses. And then I'm going to mail that postcard, and then I'm going to see what type of results. And that way I can test one offer against another offer and say which offer performs better. So in a split A-B test, you're able to test offers pretty easily. And if I find that offer 1 does better than offer 2, then I'll do another split test with offer 1 versus offer 3. And if maybe 3 outperforms 1, then I'll do another test with offer 3 versus 4. And real quickly, I can identify out of 4 or 5 or 6 offers which one is the most responsive all the way down to which one is the least responsive. So that's the value of tracking, okay? So then, once you have that in place, then the last thing is simple, I guess you call it an acrostics maybe. I call it ABT. Most people say in sales, ABC, always be closing. Well, in marketing, it's ABT, always be tracking, okay? And you just need to have kind of this mindset that everything you do, you're always tracking. You're always measuring. You never leave anything to chance, and you never just spend money where you're not actually tracking it. If you can't track it, just don't do it, because you never know you'll never know whether your investment has been effective. So that's the kind of the high-level overview and getting into this topic. Now, for the fun stuff, would you like to hear about some of the things we've tracked, some things we've tested, and some of the results it produced and why?
Yes, I would. I always love when you share just your history and your experiences and examples. I think those are really what kind of hit home and people learn the most from. So I think that's a great idea. I would love to hear.
Okay, great. So let's start with something simple that might have far-reaching impact, okay? So let me ask you a question, because this is a great question to ask. You're looking at an ad, and this particular ad is just nothing but text. Okay, so let's think you're in a magazine, you just come up with this ad, and it's just nothing but text. You look at another ad, and it's got this gorgeous photo, and the text is overlaid on the photo, and it looks really pretty, and it looks really gorgeous. Which of those ads attract your attention the most? Which one do you think is likely going to produce the better results?
I would definitely think the one with the photo. I'm a very visual person, so that's the one I would be attracted to and the one I would remember.
Great. Now, let me ask you a question. Let's say now that you're a professional real estate agent and you're selling into, let's call it a luxury market, okay, of some sort, and you want to put together really strong producing marketing pieces. And you have two options. One option is to do, and let's just call it a postcard, just to keep it real simple. One option is to do a postcard that's just a bunch of words and very few, if any, pictures. The other option is to do a postcard that's this gorgeous postcard, gorgeous photography. You've got fewer words, just kind of overlaid and really beautifully graphically designed right there on the postcard. Which one, as a professional real estate agent selling into that luxury market, are you more likely to go with?
You're listening to the Get Sellers Calling You podcast. To increase sales from past clients and sphere of influence or from a geographic farm, learn about Agent Dominator. We guarantee your sales in writing or give your money back. To learn more, visit our website at getsellerscallingyou.com and select Agent Dominator from the menu. And now, back to the podcast.
I would think the one with the beautiful photos and the graphics and things like that, just because that's probably going to, in a luxury market, when I think luxury is something that's hard to even depict. So a photo that's showing the luxury, I think, is something that consumer would connect to a lot quicker.
Okay, perfect. Now, final question. Which of those do you think most agents actually pick? You think they pick the same thing as well?
My guess would be, since you're asking, that they don't pick that.
No. You're actually wrong on that answer. They pick the same way.
Okay.
You pick. Okay. All right.
I'm always so used to you tricking me, so I don't know.
Yeah. No. These aren't trick questions. These are just engaging in conversation so that folks on the call can kind of be answering the question themselves with what they think they would do. So here's what's really going on. Okay. We have a print style. That's the main difference here. Okay, we got some graphics difference. Okay, but for the most part, what I've been articulating is the difference in style in the actual print. Either one print is a dark-colored font on a light-colored background. Okay, we call that normal print, or the other one is a light-colored font on a dark-colored background. We call that reverse print, because if you have this beautiful photograph, then typically you put the words on top of the photograph someplace where it's kind of darker, and you make the words in white, and that's called reverse print. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay.
I feel like I have heard you go through this before, or
That's
just
okay.
the difference in the lettering.
Yeah, so you have normal print and you have reverse print, okay? And so with normal print versus reverse print, the question is there a difference in response rates between normal and reverse? Because that's one of the things you needed to ask. If you're going to invest all this money in your marketing budget for this beautiful photography, beautiful cards, and put these beautiful words right on top, versus something less beautiful and more plain, the question is, why? And in marketing, you can never rely strictly on your own personal opinion. Give me just one quick moment. And so what happens then is we make these decisions based on what we like rather than what the market tells us. And if you base all of your marketing decisions on what you like rather than what the market tells you, then you're liable to make mistakes and not even know it. So we tested this. What we did is we took the identical postcard, identical headline, identical everything, including the copy. On one we put normal print. The other one we put a darker background on it, and we put reverse print, and we dropped them in the mail. Okay, so this we did a split A/B test. We did a couple of thousand mail-outs on this, and we tracked all the results. What we were doing is we're sending out an offer that we knew was performing, okay, that would get people to respond, and then we tracked how many responded from card A, which was the regular print, and how many people responded from card B, which was the reverse print, and then we tabulated the results. And what do you think, which card those cards won? Do you think the regular print or the reverse print won?
I do. I remember I remember learning from this and thinking that the results were pretty interesting myself. When I was mentioning, I remember this before. I think naturally, I would think that the darker font on a light background would win. But from what I'm remembering, I think it's a pretty, stark difference. So is that correct?
It was right. So the regular print won. Okay. So now let's talk about if 5% is a kind of a low increase in conversion, what would you think would be a high conversion rate?
Oh, I don't know, 20 to 25%.
Okay, so you're absolutely right. 20 to 25% is a strong conversion rate. Anything above that is a really strong conversion rate. Does that make sense?
Right.
Okay. So what type of conversion rate would you think if the regular print wins over reverse print, what type of conversion rate do you think it may have won by?
Okay, well, let's shoot for higher then. Maybe it, was in the 70, 80% range.
Okay, so really high, right?
That's what I'm thinking, yes.
Okay. All right. Now, I know you're just guessing at this one because you think this is a leading question, right?
Well, I don't know the actual results, but I do think, just even naturally, I do think that people would probably respond to that a little bit quicker. Just it seems kind of something that they're more familiar with, or it feels more, just calming and natural, not something, too out there, something that they would actually, respond to and look at. That would be my first thought.
I don't want to challenge you on this, but I kind of want to challenge your response. Earlier you said you would be more attracted to the pretty photo with the words rather than just the words on black and white. So why do you think someone would respond more to more of the regular print rather than the reverse print, which is the pretty photo?
Oh, okay. I thought you were just talking about the font color. I didn't know that the regular print would not have a photo.
Well, I mean, it may have some imagery there, but the main contrast here is the difference between having a photo encompassing the entire card and your print on top of it versus having the no photo or a smaller photo somewhere else, but not putting print on top of that. So let's kind of fast track a little bit. So 70 to 80% is what you think is the increase. Okay. So let me tell you what the test results were. Okay. It wasn't 70% and it wasn't 80%. If you could think way out of the box, okay, I'm going to tell you it's higher than that. If you were to take just this real stab, as far away as you could think, what do you think would be the next guess you would have?
Oh gosh, above 80. I don't know, 95.
Okay. It was, you ready? 800% difference.
Oh, wow.
Think about that for a moment. And think about this in terms of you being a real estate agent, investing your hard-earned money to drive in results, okay? And whether it's a direct response card or whether it's just some other card that you're just trying to convey information like about your expertise or your brand or anything like that. What's the difference? Why do you think reverse print got 8 times fewer results than regular print? What do you think is driving that?
You know, I do not know because I feel like there is part of me that would think, you know, I would respond to a photo, but you did say both would have it. I don't know if it's just that the wording is more clear on the normal printing. And so, you know, they're not only looking at the photo, but they're actually also reading the words versus the other one, they're mainly just looking at the photo. Mm-hmm. Or if it's just that consistency and that being kind of something that people are more comfortable with.
Okay.
I don't know, though.
Let me tell you the answer because this is really important. Because anytime you do any sort of marketing, you have to keep all of these little things in mind if you want to increase your results. I can guarantee you that my client who makes more money than his friend, more take-home money, and has a greater lifestyle, understands these things and applies them. And that's why he's so successful. So here's what it is. You actually hit on it, but you didn't. I don't think you really understood it. Clarity. Do you wear glasses by chance or contacts?
I don't. I used to, but I got LASIK eye surgery. So I don't anymore.
Okay, so you used to wear glasses, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so let's say that there was some sort of a billboard or some sort of something over there that you got to read, and it was just out of distance, and you could barely read it. You'd have to squint and very laboriously try to read it. And then you put your glasses on and you could read it instantly and very clearly. Which one of those is going to make a bigger impact in your life?
I mean, the one that I would not have to squint to read.
Yeah.
Would definitely make a bigger impact.
So here's what's happening. If you have to exert a lot more effort and energy to read what it's saying, you're less likely to take the time to do it. This is too hard. I'm just going to throw it away. I'm not going to look at it. And by the time you figure it out, it's been so laborious that the impact just doesn't leave the right impact with you. But if you can just really easily just get it on out, read the whole thing, see it at one time, and it's easy, then you're going to do that. That's the difference between regular print and reverse print. We are trained to read dark print on a light-colored background. It's high contrast. But when you start to put a white print on a dark-colored background, mentally we're not trained to read that way. It's really hard. Test over test over test has consistently proven this. In fact, the hardest thing to read is all capital letters, italics, on a white font on a black background. So if you want to make sure that your prospect will never really read what you write, then do reverse print all capital letters in italics, okay? But if you want them to easily read what you write, then do regular font on a white background. Anything beyond that, you're slowing down their ability to clearly read, which means you're slowing down your ability to clearly communicate. And if you can't communicate, then your marketing loses effectiveness. Pretty cool, isn't it?
That is. I think that was a really good. Through my guinea pig testing, I did think the point was very, efficiently communicated to, what really does work and what doesn't. So I think that was a good kind of maybe confirmation for a lot of the realtors listening and either what they're doing or what they maybe should change.
Yeah. So now let's talk about application, okay? Because it's important from a professional realtor standpoint to have beautiful photography. I get it. You want to have a really great look. I get that. You want to look professional, and beautiful photos help you do it. I get all of that. But what this means is you need to make sure that the majority of whatever content you're trying to deliver in terms of words, to the best of your ability, is black print on a white background. So that doesn't mean you get rid of the photo. It means that you move the photo to a section of the page so that the main section that's going to have content is going to be white with black print. You can still put some words on the photo. We do this all the time with our headlines. We have a dark colored background with reverse print for a headline because it stands out and it's pretty. But when we get down to the real meat and potatoes of what we're trying to communicate, you'll find that what we do is always black print on a white background because it makes reading really easy. And if reading is easy, we're more likely to get them to read it, which is why the whole purpose of the marketing in the first place. So isn't that a cool thing?
It really is. I think that was a good, first example of what you've seen, be successful in testing and why testing is so important and what a huge difference it can make and show you and where you're really funneling your money and your marketing.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference. So I guess that's, looking at my clock, I think we're about out of time. But
yeah,
as we
to
continue
say,
with the series, and we're going to uncover a lot of these things that are these little aha moments, and you go, wow, that's really cool, and you start to apply, connect them all together. Now you got marketing that outperforms everything you've ever done.
Well, I think this is really great. I'm excited to continue on in this series and hear more examples like that are really have, a great outcome and, through testing so our listeners can learn from what you've experienced and from all of your expertise. But like you said, I think we're out of time for this call. Beatty, thank you so much just for sharing and for your time. I think this really was such a great call. Before we wrap up, is there anything else that you would like to share?
Of course. I like to put an unabashedly plug in for our services, okay? Because we do this all the time for our clients. We apply all these things that we've learned, and we drive in more results than most people have thought was possible. And we do it through a service we call Agent Dominator. So if those out there on the call are listening that you're wanting to say, hey, I just want to hire an expert and stop trying to be an amateur doing this, then check out agentdominator.net, okay? And that will get you over to a site of ours. You can learn a little bit about our service that we do. We actually guarantee your sales, or we'll give your money back. And you can fill out a form and request information. One of our team members will get back with you.
Perfect. Okay, so what we're going to do as we wrap up, for those of you that are on the live call with us, if you have questions you'd like to ask Beatty, just hold on, and we will go into a short questions and answer time with him in just a moment. And I think that's all we have for today. Thank you for joining in, and we will hopefully have you join us next time. Thanks again.
All right, thanks. See you guys.
If you've enjoyed this podcast, be sure to subscribe to it so you never miss another episode, and please like our Get Sellers Calling You Facebook page. Also, if you want to increase sales from past clients and sphere of influence, dominate a geographic farm, or convert home valuation leads, check out our Agent Dominator program. We create custom content that differentiates you from other realtors, then use it to keep you top of mind with your prospects with postcards, targeted Facebook ads, email campaigns, video interviews, and more. And the best part is we guarantee your sales or give all your money back. Learn more at GetSellersCallingYou.com and select Agent Dominator in the menu. Thanks for listening to the Get Sellers Calling You podcast. Have a great day.